This episode of Legendary is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook, head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker.
Gamebreaker TV.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Legendary. I am Person. You guys are watching Gamebreaker TV. Coming up, is Flex rating really killing LFR? PvP gear is getting fixed. Pat Crane's cracking up. Another possible Blizzard trademark. All that and more. But first, the people. Mr. Pat Crane from Convert the Raid.
Boy, those show notes really need to get fixed a little bit. I think you broke the show already. What the hell?
I don't know hey, Gary's left town.
I'm Person and these are people. Here we go. Now on to the show.
Gary left on vacation and left me in charge. It shows how smart of an idea that was.
Big mistake, Gary. Big mistake. That's all I'm saying.
And you guys have loved him so much, and we're down Olivia as well, so we decided to bring back on Squishy.
Squishy!
That was good.
Good, man. How are you?
I didn't mean for you to say it literally. You know that, right? just saying.
You know, sometimes, go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Wow. Wow.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Question mark? Yes.
It begins. Let's just get this started though. First up this week, with the release of LFR Wing 2, some players think that flex difficulty is kind of making the LFR experience very painful. Now, I don't know. I haven't actually had a chance to jump into LFR yet. I'm assuming they're saying it's painful because of the difficulty, but there's got to be some extra factors in there now because there's an extra raid difficulty, right?
Well, that was the post in the forums said as such. It was kind of a question of, has flex difficulty actually taken away from the pool of LFR raiders? And to a certain extent, I think that's probably true. Let me put it this way. I'm not doing LFR. Not right now. I'm doing flex. I'm doing normals. I'm getting my gear through those means. I'm not necessarily going through LFR. And the reason that I'm holding off is because I already have 2 different ways that I can get loot. I don't need to go sit in LFR Wing 2, where it's been reported to me anyway that there have been 6-hour clears of LFR 2. 6 hours. I mean, that is.
I don't think that's catering to the person who wanted to queue for LFR to get a 5-minute run and queue quickly between like taking care of the kids or dinner and the night. It's not really working for the LFR mindset.
No, not really. And there have been some groups that have been, you know, fairly easy clears and stuff like that. So I'm not saying that it's all the way through LFR right now, but there are reports of some extreme cases where there are some really long clear times right now, and I have better things to do than be in LFR for 6 hours. I am sorry. That's all.
What could be more important? I mean, LFR helping 24 other strangers. Be nice.
So Bashiok actually took to the forums to deny kind of what you guys are saying and say that they're not really seeing any big dramatic shift at all with the completion or failure rates of LFR versus the previous tiers.
Right.
I think I think this is in the notes later, but this keeps popping into my head, and I just want to get to this now. Is this honestly because, like, this is kind of exciting. If people are seeing LFR take a negative spin because less people are queuing for it, because people like yourselves would rather take the time to organize a flex and go and do flex mode instead. Isn't that exactly what they wanted to do with flex mode?
Yeah, it is. This is exactly what they want. I mean, you know, they've always wanted people to go into group content, and there is no better group content than actually, you know, going in with a group that you're communicating with, that you're on Mumble or Vent with, or whatever. And this is a great way to do that. I don't think that this is necessarily the case, though. I think that a lot of it is that people are remembering back to LFR's past as, you know, with some kind of rose-colored glasses as well, because every single week that a new tier drops, guess what happens? People go through it and they bitch about how long the damn thing took to complete.
But Pat, I wanted it.
This is the way
Pat,
it goes.
I wanted it open week 1. If it was open week 1, I'd already be past this shit.
Yeah, you would be. Of course, that first week you would have had to spend 48 hours in LFR to be able to complete it.
Raiding like a world first raider.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's the new progression, by the way. LFR is the new progression.
It's true.
I think there should actually be something on WoW Progress for that. How about that?
Squishy, have you had a chance to jump in either of the LFR tiers at this point now?
I have not. I've been avoiding it as same as Pat. Flex is just, it's more control to me and to who, you know, I want to raid with, and just have fun with guildies or friends or whatnot. So rather than rolling the lottery, I'd rather take a small win.
I mean, this sounds like such a, the community has such a negative spin on it, but to me, this is so exciting to hear. This is such a success story because it is effectively addressing a lot of the problems that people had with LFR and creating an environment where people would rather take the time to talk with their community and build up a flex mode and do something that's a little bit more group and community oriented than just queue solo. However, it kind of stinks that it's a 6-hour clear. However, LFR still is there for the player that doesn't want to take that kind of time to invest into the community and finding other people or finding guilds. If they just want to jump on and queue by themselves, they still can. But I'm excited that the community is finding it much more. Did I say I'm exciting? It's exciting to hear that the community is finding much more value in running Flex over LFR. To me, that's a success story.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily true, though. I mean, I know that, you know, people around my guild are doing that. They're running Flex a lot more. They're still putting together LFR groups and so on and so forth. And even those teams that are going into heroics on a regular basis are still doing LFR because, I mean, when you talk about tier drops and stuff like that, they're for bonuses. That does make sense for those guys that are trying to really get the extra edge on all the gear that they possibly can. But man, I tell you, there's a lot of stuff going on in the forums right now about LFR, and I would say this: don't nerf LFR. I see it in the chat room as well. Don't nerf LFR, and please don't, because people need to learn. And this is the first week of any tier that drops or any wing that drops for LFR. You need to be able to experience it. You need to be able to have everybody learn from it, and that's why. This is why I'm avoiding LFR for now, especially, is because right now everybody's going through that painful learning curve. And as soon as people get through that painful learning curve, they'll understand the fight better, and they'll be able to clear it, hopefully, the next week or in 2 weeks. And they'll start to see those better clear times for LFR. And that's when I'm going to start bringing my alts in and maybe even my main in if I'm still lacking some of those tier pieces that I so desperately need. At the time.
I think you're right to a certain extent there, but what about the coercive effect there? Because, like I said, I see sort of almost a segregation of where LFR will be there for the community players, who want to just jump in and quickly queue by themselves. But I think now that the community has another option through Flex, and they get better gear out of it, players like yourself are going to be more inclined to be running Flex over just running an LFR, unless they're simply just queuing by themselves. I almost think, to counter your argument, that learning curve is going to be a little bit slower, because now all the people that are running normals and heroics aren't necessarily jumping into LFR in their off time. They're jumping into Flex. So you're not going to get as many people who are jumping into LFR that just know what they're doing because they've ran it on normal and heroic. You're just going to get the people who are constantly running Flex as a majority of the group. And I think it might be a little bit slower of a learning curve this time around because of Flex.
It really depends, because I mean, what you're talking about is I think that a lot of people right now, those that are doing normals and heroics on a regular basis, are kind of taking a look at LFR and saying, not right now. And then when it comes down the line in a couple of weeks or whatever, I think that those people, if they're still missing gear pieces and whatnot, they'll take a look at LFR and say, well, is this really going to be a benefit to me or not? And so then you might see some of those people, especially those guys that are just doing normals, those guys might be coming back into LFR a little bit and saying, I'll give it a shot, and we'll see what happens.
Squish, what's your take on this whole thing?
So, the problem I think with this tier in LFR is maybe Flex has taken some people away from LFR, but the other thing is Throne of Thunder normal gear was 522, whereas LFR this tier is 528, which is only a 6 item level upgrade, which if you upgraded your pieces last tier with 2 out of 2, they're just going to be, they're equal, right? It's +3 per upgrade.
It's not a big upgrade.
Right. So, right now when people don't know the strategies, there's still some tuning that's being done in the LFR, especially with General Nazgrim. But while people are learning this and everything's still working out, I think most people are going to avoid it for now and try and just get a Flex Pug or use Open Raid or something instead.
I mean, Nazgrim was one of those fights, I even saw chat talking about. It's like someone said that Nazgrim, the second he switched to defensive stance, he went up to 100 rage in 15 seconds.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's one of those encounters where you're really relying on the whole raid, and when the whole raid doesn't know what they're doing, well, it's going to be tough.
And that's also one of the points that a lot of players kind of bring up, is that and this gets into a touchy area, so I don't want to sound like a total a-hole here, but I'm probably going to. So one of the problems that pops up on the forums anyway is that people are talking about how some players are not paying attention to what's going on. They don't understand what those fights are. They don't understand any of the mechanics that are in those fights, and they won't be bothered with trying to learn that before they get into LFR. Some players. But those are the players that are wiping these groups. And I think that people don't necessarily understand that. In this particular LFR, it is not going to be a complete face roll, especially as you get further along in this particular tier. These encounters get tougher as it goes on. Even in LFR, it's going to get tougher. So, make sure to look at the dungeon journal at least, and make sure to pay attention to raid chat, so that those that have experience with this in normal, flex, heroic modes, whatever, or those that have been through LFR before can explain it to you, and so that you can know exactly what's going on in these dungeons. It's not that and I don't mean to sound like I'm coming down on people, but those guys that are not to be bothered with mechanics before they actually get into the fight, those guys are the ones that are stalling it out for everybody else. And right now, there are a lot of people that are kind of doing that, and that can be a real problem, especially on Nazgrim, like we were talking about.
Exactly. And I think the one thing about LFR is it's good to have those mechanics, as Pat said. The problem is when one guy can chain a whole raid wipe. And I think those mechanics need to be changed in some way. Like, for example, as we keep coming up with defensive stance on Nazgrip. For maybe 99% of your raid, people know to stop DPS and you just go on ads or stand around during defensive stance. But that one guy is going to keep hitting the boss and give him tons of rage throughout the entire phase. So maybe something needs to be changed about that. But the current solution to that problem is just everybody burns him during defensive stance. Because it doesn't matter if one or everybody hits him, he'll still gain the same amount of rage if everybody hits him or one. So I guess that's the solution. And once people find that out, LFR, that boss won't be that hard anymore because the DPS check is...
Squishy's LFR Nazgrim strategy. Everyone just throw everything on the boss because it doesn't matter.
Just hit the damn guy. It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Just hit him. Just, you know what? Hey, let's just pile everybody together. Let's just hit him and just see if it works. And we'll try to get up to 5 stacks of determination, and then we'll just win. You know, I mean, that seems to be kind of the mentality a lot of the times, and it's great. You know, if you are one of those guys, if you're an LFR hero, and you are one of those guys that goes in there without knowing any of the fight beforehand, and you think that this is really fun, that's great. But think about those other guys too that may be doing this on normal or flex or other LFR heroes that don't like wiping all that much and that really want to just win and get out of there. For those guys, it's really, that strategy won't pay off, I don't think. The just hit him strategy won't always pay off.
I have no idea. But just think, in 2 weeks, we'll get the next wing of LFR. And that contains Thok, the Bloodthirsty.
Thok!
And for those who don't know, he transitions into Phase 2 automatically on LFR. And then he just eats anybody in front of him. Like, just boom. Explosion of meat and bones everywhere. I don't know how they can...
It's gonna be great.
That.
You're gonna see. You're not. You're just gonna say, "Tough it up and learn."
Just gonna see bones of noob all over the place. Bones of noob.
I love those. I love those mechanics, even in LFR, because it's like those mechanics that are so obvious. Of you just did it wrong, and guess what? You're laying on the ground dead. Are great. Right. I love those mechanics. Because if you didn't learn once, you damn sure are gonna learn twice.
Yeah, no, that works.
Shut up.
That works.
Don't
that
you?
Works.
Don't
right.
you?
No, that works, kinda.
Not really.
I'll go along with it. I'll go along with it.
Don't question me on it.
I'm gonna go along with it. It's fine.
What do you guys think though here for the next expansion? We're coming really close to BlizzCon. Everybody's 100% sure we're gonna see the announcement of the next expansion. So what changes do you guys want to see coming into the next expansion applied to Flex and LFR?
Oh wow! Go ahead, Squish.
Most notably, I don't want there to be such a large gear disparity. Maybe, because right now, obviously, with the whole item squish thing that we've talked about many times, but I think that's the first issue. Just because maybe if LFR was closer to Flex, some people would be a little more happy. Alternatively, you could go the other route, and I'd kind of like to see LFR share a lockup with Flex, but that's my personal opinion, and I know many people don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's a tough one. LFR and Flex, as far as lockouts go, I think they have to remain separate. And I think that it's a good idea, at least for now, until more data, until they can collect more data, that LFR, Flex, and Normals and Heroics kind of have those separate lockouts as well. But as far as like differences, I don't know that there really needs to be any right now. I mean, we've only seen like the first couple of wings from both LFR and Flex now, and so I don't think that we can necessarily say that there need to be definitive changes to either of these. LFR is great because it has minimal mechanics in comparison with Flex and normals, and it means that people can, go through and see content, get some gear, and hopefully have some fun along the way. And Flex is more of a challenge, but it's definitely a warm-up to normals. And I kind of like how those difficulties feel. The gear thing, yeah, maybe. Maybe something needs to change with how gearing works or what the eye levels are of these particular, these different difficulties as compared with things that you can win in-game, maybe, or other things you can win in-game. But I don't know. I kind of struggle with it. Right now, I'm kind of happy, actually, with Flex. So I'm okay.
I know this won't happen, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from this from people in comments in chat. And maybe not applied to LFR. I think we talked about this. I think it was you, me, and Olivia, Squishy. We talked about this last week. I don't think they could get away with making LFR blue. They've already set the precedence that it's going to be epic. But they've talked about wanting to make epics more epic and keeping them feeling like there's something to have achieved. I won't, like I said, I won't go as far as saying that they need to affect Flex, but I do hope coming into the next expansion, at the very least, things like the Timeless Isle catch up. I think that those items, the instant epics could have been blue, and then the upgrade tier could have been epic because they're not easy to come by. And it could have made it a little bit more sparse and unique. I think that's something even across the board I would like to see again is not necessarily taking epics away from people, but bringing back that feeling of it actually mattered to be in all epics.
So you just want to bring back more blues is the real deal.
Yeah,
you just want to bring back more blues so that you can feel some kind of equality.
I'm perfectly fine. Like, make the gear the exact same as it would be. Don't change the gear stats, but just make the quality blue. Why does it have to be epic?
Right.
And I think, like I said, I think that they kind of wrote themselves into a corner because they've set the precedent, and that's why they've kept on the way that they've been. Is they can't go back and take it away from LFR at this point because LFR expects to get epics.
No, but they can do something for next expansion though. I mean, really, when it comes to the next expansion, it's basically a break in the game, and right now they don't have that break. They set the precedent back in Cataclysm during Dragon Soul, right? So they set the precedent then when they first created LFR and released it into the world, and now that they've had well over like a year and a half, I think, of LFR being around. Now they can kind of take that data and decide what to do with it. And if they decide to go into a blue territory where LFR is blue, well, that's okay. I don't think it'll necessarily sit well with the LFR heroes, as I'm calling them all throughout the show tonight. The LFR heroes. I don't know if it'll sit well with those guys, but I think that it may encourage them to go into more group activity, like Flex or normals or whatever.
All right, let's move on. But before we do, I want to tell you guys about a sponsor that we have here at Game Breaker. We're super happy to have them, and I'm super happy because I don't know if you guys, real quick, do any of you guys have Showtime available? Yes, no?
Not yet. Well, I mean, it's available, but I don't have it.
Have you ever tried to watch Dexter?
I've watched Dexter, yeah.
It's a great series. Great series on Showtime. But before it was a series, it was a book. And those books are actually available right now on Audible, where you can kind of catch up. It's actually a little bit different. I hear that they took some creative adaptations for when they were writing the television show. And the books are a little bit different, but if you're a fan of the show, I'm sure you'll enjoy the Darkly Dreaming Dexter and all of the other Dexter books, following obviously Dexter Morgan, who is a serial killer. For those that haven't seen the show, just quick synopsis. It's kind of interesting. He's a serial killer that only kills other serial killers. So it's kind of this whole like he's bad but he's good kind of love to hate the the hero, the kind of like the Breaking Bad syndrome of like hating or following the bad guy. And
He's
it's
the
really
anti-hero.
good. The anti-hero. That was the word I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. No problem.
And it's just a really, really good series, a really good book. And you guys can pick it up right now on Audible for free. If you guys head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker, you'll get a free 30 days as well as a free audiobook. So you can pick these up right now. They've got a whole bunch of other books. Obviously, if Dexter's not your thing, by all means, it's the World of Warcraft show. So all you guys have to do is type in World of Warcraft. Might help if I spell it right. Craft.
That would actually help. You know,
And,
spelling it does count.
Spelling does count. And they've got all of the World of Warcraft, or not all of the World of Warcraft, but they got 4 of them. And they got 4 really good ones. The brand new Shadows of the Horde, which just came out a couple months ago, Tides of War, Storm Rage, and Wolfheart, as well as Diablo books. Gosh, just so much more than just, you know, the stereotypical book, but they've got a lot of books based around video games. So I highly encourage you guys to go check out Audible if you haven't. And just once again, head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker. All right, let's move on. But looks like Cinder Kitty Lore posted on the forums in regard to the Conquest cap last week, the Conquest bug cap last week. And it looks like they've finally put the Conquest vendors back into the game and plan to address some of the extra gear that players have. So the Grievous Conquest achievement will be removed and any excess Conquest gear will be converted to Tyrannical. That seems, I mean, I get it that the season hasn't started yet, but my gut feeling is that seems like it's a really drastic way to approach the problem. What do you guys think?
It actually has started. It started Tuesday.
Yeah.
Just
The PvP
point
season?
that out. Yeah.
Oh, it's Thursday. Gosh, losing track of time.
It's okay. It happens to everybody.
So, because the PvP season has started, I think it was a very drastic change, but it was required because these people who were affected, which was, as far as I know, somewhat random, those people just had an unfair advantage in arenas because of the gear, or rated battlegrounds, or world PvP, or whatever your PvP you choose is.
So do you think that Blizzard should do something about, you know, the extra rating that players have kind of accumulated because of the bonus gear? Or should they have rather gone and approach it of resetting the ladders?
This is kind of a big screw up, really. I mean, this is kind of like, to me, the way that I read all of this, it was kind of an in-your-face to all the PvPers out there, and it was just kind of, it's one of these problems, and it's not necessarily, I mean, it's something that Blizzard didn't catch, and they were very upfront about it, and they were very honest about it, and they really tried to make sure that it was all taken care of as well as they can. But at some point, you say, well, this is just another reason why PvP sucks in WoW. You know, I mean, and so it's just like, you're giving PvPers an excuse to bitch, and it's like, I don't like to, I don't like it when this type of thing happens, and I'm sure that the guys over at Blizzard don't like it when this type of stuff happens, and PvPers definitely don't like it when this happens, but I don't know that there is a best solution for any of this, you know, because you're going to be taking away from somebody at some point, and that's not good. That's not where you want to be anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I was saying with the whole gear thing is they're kind of in a situation where they can't take away the epics because they've already kind of been passed out. But additionally here, Grievous weapons have also been temporarily hotfixed up to level 91, basically making it so that players can't equip them while the hotfixes are being equipped. So with that being said, is there any idea when when they'll be returning, or are they going to wait, you know, a adequate amount of weeks for a player to have accumulated enough conquest points to have purchased the item in the first place? Are we going to go half the season without weapons? Do we know it all, or have any speculation as to when we could see these weapons returning to players' hands? So,
judging by the math, if you went into PvP week 1 and got a decent rating, by I think it's next week, you could hypothetically get your first first weapon. And it would make sense if Blizzard has done their math correctly, then the vendors will be back in next week, which would be the first week that the weapons can actually, in which way, originally be purchased if there was no bug. So that would be my best guess, but I honestly, it's Blizzard. Sometimes they miss by a little.
What? No, they're always perfect. They're always perfect. They try to make good on any bug fixes that they need to make. Come on.
So what do you guys think here?
Week after next.
This was a bug issue, but there might have been people out there where players potentially took advantage of it, or you know, was this clever use of game?
Either. That never happens either, Mike. Never in WoW.
Never at all. So with the situation here, I know, in some people's cases it was accidental, but I don't think there was any way to exploit the thing, was there? It was kind of just this random bug that had happened. So really what I'm getting at here is, though, that no bans really should have hit anyone over this issue. It was kind of more of a mess up on Blizzard's end, right?
Yeah, I didn't hear about any bans or anything like that. I didn't see anything on the forums. I didn't see anything offline or away from the forums about bans or people exploiting traditionally this thing. But once it happens, however, people did take advantage of it, and those are the ones that they're trying to sort out right now. But they're having to go through essentially case by case who did what with what gear. So they're trying to parse it all out and trying to sort it all out, and they're saying, okay, well, we're going to take the most offensive cases, the ones that took advantage of this the most, and we're going to sort those guys out first, and then we're going to just hotfix the rest of it, and hopefully everything will be fine.
And I've actually heard some reports. I don't know whether they're true, but some people vendored the extra gear they got, and then when they know for sure the hotfix is done, that they were gonna go back to the item recovery system online and buy it back. I don't know if it's going to work.
That's exploiting a bug.
Work, but if it does, that might be a possible warrant for a ban, because that is intentionally doing it.
Yeah. The people who fell into that situation, that's that's not clever use of game mechanics. That is exploiting the system.
Right. That is not used as intended.
Yeah. So don't do that. If any of you out there had that plan,
don't do it.
We'll warn you now. That's not a good idea.
No.
As far as I know, the hotfix is in. So
right. It should be in by now.
Let's I don't even want to say this because I saw this pre-show, Pat, and I don't even have anything ready. You're just gonna put me to shame here.
Yeah. But, I got it ready before the show, man. I was psyched.
It's time to bring out those tinfoil hats. So
Mike, you're gonna be left out here.
Am I really the only one who this is all I got?
That's all you got?
Ready?
Look at this. I want to show it to the audience here.
It's functional.
I'm going to say it's functional. It actually works. And now you won't be able to see it because my head is way too small. I think my head is way too big for this really tiny hat. So I'll just put it right down here. There you go. That's all I got.
That's just the best. It's to scramble the radio waves, right? Because the tinfoil's not enough. You need the oscillating fan. All right. All right, I like it. So another trademark has made its appearance in a New Zealand database this week, and the name this time around, wait for it, Pat already spoiled it like 10 minutes ago. I don't know what you're waiting for. He said it. Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
And it's totally not anywhere on the screen, so I should probably try and fix that.
Probably.
Where's it at? State Insurance, Wellington.
It's probably up. I have no idea where it's at.
Oh, there it is. I found it.
There it is.
Oh, trademark.
There.
Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard Entertainment. So, what do you guys think this is for? We are dangerously close to to BlizzCon. It's really not typical for us to not get the name of the expansion. We knew, come on, Mists of Pandaria. Any old Game Breaker fan remembers that whole thing for like 3 or 4 months. So,
Absolutely.
And
it's not like they're really good at holding trademarks back. But this has come out of nowhere. Do you think that it sounds like a World of Warcraft expansion?
Well, there's a couple of things to note about this thing, and here, hold on. Okay, so there's a couple of things to note about it, and that is that it is for possible computer game discs, and that is a key component for a lot of World of Warcraft stuff. It is not a component for Hearthstone. It is not a component for the Blizzard All-Stars thing. Those have both been listed as downloadable games only, not actually any kind of discs, not needing any disc components. So it shouldn't be for either of those. However, maybe they were covering their bases just in case it went to a console somewhere. Who knows? But I don't know that it necessarily sounds like a World of Warcraft title. Because every World of Warcraft title has been about, the threat, right? It's always about the threat. It's not about the heroes.
Wrath of the Lich King, the Burning Crusade.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And even Mists of Pandaria was mysterious, at least, so that you could kind of think about like this ominous threat that was out there. So this really doesn't sound like an ominous threat. I don't think it really sounds like a World of Warcraft thing either. It doesn't fit with a lot of things.
Where did you say you saw this was in disc format as well?
No, it's not. In the thing, it says that it's for computer discs. Correct?
Right. It says. Well, the entire thing says computer game software, discs, downloadable computer game software, computer games software downloadable from a global computer network, interactive multimedia computer game, and so on. It's just on the other page that's not on the screenshot.
See, I was gonna say,
Squishy, you know what it's for, right? You know what it's for. I know you know what it's for.
You've got your tinfoil hat on, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
I was wondering, is it possibly for Titan? Because they just restarted.
Oh gosh.
Where's the Gopher?
It's Titan. It's totally Titan.
I'm not Gary. I didn't have it ready. Wait, I'm trying to find it.
Wait, I'll spin my hat.
I mean, they just restarted it. So, and now we're hearing about this. So it's possible, right? I can't think of anything else other than WoW, and like he said, it doesn't sound like a WoW expansion.
Right. There we go.
That's all I got.
That's all you needed.
By
the way, Mike, just for everybody out there, do I look like a monkey wearing a fez, or is this actually working for me? I just want to know.
You look good.
I think I look like a monkey wearing a fez.
Should wear that out on a Friday night. I'm pretty sure it'll bring all the ladies.
Tomorrow night.
I was gonna say it kind of sounds like a book, but obviously the whole software issue kind of trumps that. But what do you guys think here? This is kind of interesting. Chat said it's a red herring. Not too long ago, we heard about the Dark Below, which then was suddenly got turned on its head because shortly after we got Corgis Unleashed. So are these red herrings that Blizzard's putting out? I know that the last trademark, there was a follow-up story by MMO Champion, who are the ones that I believe broke the story about the Dark Below. They came out and said that they did some investigation and found out that it doesn't cost anything to file a trademark or a copyright under Blizzard's name. It doesn't mean that it's going to go through, but you can do it. So right. Is this a red herring by Blizzard? Is this something legitimate? Or is this just someone out there who is trying to start speculation by people like us and then make us look stupid later?
The answer to that question, all of it, is yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what the question was, but we'll kind of go through it piece by piece.
That's worse than the answer that I got from Ghostcrawler when I said, "Hey, what's up with the Dark Below?" And he was like, "Well, just make a list of those websites."
Right, exactly. So there's a couple of things that I am aware of that have happened or that have been told to myself or the general public. One is that New Zealand, and this is by no means actually correct. This is a supposition based off of what somebody else said on some weird forum. So who knows? But somebody said that the New Zealand trademarking does not actually trademark false items. They try to verify that everything is real. The other thing that we know is that as of that posting, it was not verified. So there are two things for you that will say, okay, this may or may not be actually something.
+1, -1.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Thanks for taking us nowhere, Pat.
Right. You're welcome.
I'm going to give us some pluses here, I think. Not sure, though. But according to the research done, it says that AJ Park was the one who applied for it. And AJ Park is supposedly the one who trademarked Mists of Pandaria, Reaper of Souls, and Hearthstone.
Yep. That's
so
true.
There's one thing. The other thing is a lot looser, and it's that Cataclysm was revealed or trademarked on July 1st, 2009, approximately a month and a half before BlizzCon. Mists of Pandaria was trademarked August 2nd, which was approximately a month and a half before BlizzCon. It's now it was trademarked on September 25th, which is just about a month and a half before BlizzCon.
Right. Where's that gopher now? Get the gopher.
I don't have any music for it. I don't know why there's no music coming through for that. It's kind of upsetting.
That's all right. There you go. Provide your own music at all times.
That's just the way that I roll. Gosh, I don't know. I like your logic, Squishy, but I really hope not. I mean, I guess I can get over it. I got over Mists of Pandaria, but I don't know. I agree with you guys, like, especially because here's the thing. We know that they are in a situation where they're going to bring back a big villain. They've I don't want to say that they're licking their wounds or think that Mists of Pandaria was a mistake, but I'm pretty sure we're going to see some big villainous character rear his ugly head and maybe Kill Jaden will come back. You know, maybe it'll be the start of the end of the Burning Legion and we'll start taking out lieutenants and stuff. I don't know, but I know it's going to be big. Heroes of the Storm, like you guys said, is it a bad thing that it makes it more about the player? Maybe it incentivizes people. Maybe, and here's the thing, is World of Warcraft Heroes of the Storm, that title invokes a little bit more feeling of like, oh, I'm going to go in and I'm going to be the hero of this storm. Whereas Mists of Pandaria, you're kind of like, wait, what?
Right. Mists of Pandaria was more neutral. It was mysterious in a way, but it wasn't necessarily ominous. You could kind of interpret it for yourself. Heroes of the Storm is maybe more hopeful, and maybe that is the new direction. We shall see in a month and a half. Or at least we hope that we see in a month and a half.
How pissed would everyone be if we get to BlizzCon
and
there's no announcement?
By the way, if they make no announcement, you know who's going to make the no announcement? They're going to throw the new guy under the bus, and the new guy is Josh Allen, aka Lord.
Hey Josh, go out there and tell them we're behind and we're not releasing an expansion.
They're going to totally throw him under the bus because he's the new guy.
Throw him under the bus. He jumped in front of the bus as soon as he got there. Number 2, I'll do it. I got this one. Don't worry. I know you're out of town, Zarum, but I've got this one. I'll take care of it.
Right.
Oh, Josh.
What if instead of we are the heroes. What if you're killing some hero of some kind of storm? Like, I don't know lore at all, but maybe Missy can think of some kind of storm where some people did something and they came out and now they're the bad guy somehow. Who knows, right? That's why I'm wearing this.
Couldn't that be considered villains of the storm then, though, if they came out bad?
Well,
It could
what
be
if they
both.
came out as good guys and then, they're corrupted? Or...
It'd be kind of akin to the fallen protectors in Siege of Orgrimmar. They used to be good guys, but now their
Missy's-
spirits are bad guys, right?
Missy's
kind of the
saying
thing.
twisting nether, which does fall in place. I mean, I think that a lot of people figured, obviously Burning Legion and the whole twisting nether is going, hey, twisting nether, my server. Everybody drink. The twisting and the twisting nether is where the Burning Legion is. So yeah, I mean, I guess you could go down the route of saying hero. Okay, so heroes of the storm being the twisting nether obviously being where the Burning Legion is. So yeah, the heroes of the storm could theoretically just be the villainous heroes, because in the mind of the enemy, they're still heroes. They're just bad heroes to us. So it could go down that road. I could see it happening, but I don't know. We'll have to see. This is all we got, though. I think this is much more likely than the Dark Below. In all honesty,
I don't know, man. I think that the Dark Below is out there, and it is definitely an ominous title. And then they came out with Corgi is Unleashed, and that was definitely a red herring, just trying to throw us.
What
off
if it
track.
isn't?
What if Corgi's
World
Unleashed?
of Warcraft.
Corgi's Unleashed is the thing.
Corgi's
Yeah.
Unleashed.
Let's just say it's the thing. It's totally fine. Yeah.
That's
We'll
what
just have
I'm gonna go with
very
a
small
sign.
dogs running around, causing problems for everybody.
All right, let's move on to the world first race. But before we do, I want to tell you guys about one of our other great sponsors that we have here. But I'm gonna bring it. I gotta bring this up again. We already talked about Dexter once. Guess what? I'm gonna talk about Dexter again. So, it was last Saturday night. I was catching up on Dexter before the new one, and just happened to sit down, started watching. Checking it out. I'm gonna show you guys a quick snippet, just a little one. No spoilers. Don't worry. I promise. I'll even talk over it. No spoilers are going to happen here. You don't know what's going on. I'm talking too much. But this is Dexter. It's a great show. What's that? What's that? It's a news alert. Oh my God, a hurricane. Dexter, get out of Florida quick, because Showtime went to Shutterstock.com. Oh wait, let me go here. Shutterstock Showtime went to Shutterstock.com and found a hurricane alert graphic.
Wow, you went deep for that, man.
You
went deep.
They used Shutterstock on Showtime.
Deep. You went deep on that
I'm
one.
just saying.
Nice
Come
work.
on.
Nice
Come
work.
on.
No, that was good. That was
Come
good
on.
investigative.
It's a good segue.
It
Right.
was investigative journalism. I even set it up with the Audible ad being about Dexter. I know what I'm doing. I'm the king of transitions.
Or you're totally mental, one way or the other.
But here's the thing. Honestly, here's the thing, though. I brought that up because it's a really good point. We talk about Shutterstock a lot here on Game Breaker. We talk about how much we use it and how important it is in the creative industry. But I wanted to bring this up and show you guys it's not just us talking out our ass. The creative industry is full of situations like this where making graphics and making animations is a lot harder than any one person can do. And that's why Shutterstock offers such a great service to the people who use it, is because YouTube channels, websites, so much is needed, and you don't have time or energy to focus on doing everything. So why not let Shutterstock take control of the graphics for you, where you can access a whole bunch of different pre-made animations, pre-made graphics, really cool stuff that you could maybe add to guild intros or maybe you're using a project. I told you guys a little bit about a month or two ago, I was working on a feature film and I used Shutterstock to find elements that I needed for the visual effects that I was using. It's really just a great resource to have, and anyone out there who's in the creative industry should definitely consider picking it up. And if you head on over to Shutterstock, when you guys check out, make sure to use the offer code GameBreaker9 and you'll get 25% off of your new account. So be sure to head over and check out Shutterstock. And of course, obviously support them. Supporting them helps support us and Legendary and everything we do. So we're really happy to have them on as a sponsor and appreciate any love you share their way. So let's move on to the world first race, because this week, Garrosh is managing to survive, at least for the last lockout. It hasn't been finished. The world first race is not over yet. But what's the current race looking like, Squishy?
So we have Method, who last week took down Paragons of the Klaxion Heroic, which is the 13th boss, and they're still in first. After that, we have Blood Legion at 12 and in second place, and Midwinter at third, and just a handful of 5 more guilds at 12 out of 14 for 25 man. For 10 man, Paragon is on Paragons at 13 of 14.
I see what you did there.
We have 2 more guilds tied at second for 12. So both races nearing the end. We'll see how close they get after this week's over.
Well, and if you look at a site like Guildox, which actually takes both the 10 and the 25 man race and combines them together, you actually have Method, then Paragon, then Blood Legion. So I mean, you're seeing some kind of mix between these 10 and 25 man groups, which is actually kind of nice. And I'm glad that that the website wildprogress.com actually split up 10 and 25 man progress as well, because you're able to kind of see and compare what's happening with 25 versus 10 man. And it's kind of interesting. I think it's been kind of interesting from a viewer perspective to kind of see what is actually happening and if there are any similarities or differences in the 10 and 25 man race. And really, there haven't been a ton of differences, to be honest. So it's kind of
What do you guys think? This is, if I can recall, this has got to be the fastest heroic progression we've seen in the history of World of Warcraft. What do you guys think about this?
They blew through the first 6-9 guys like right away. I mean, the first couple of wings, if you will, of heroic mode. So the first 8 bosses didn't take that much time, but then they really started slowing down. And they really started, you started seeing more and more time between these bosses and between each pull to really figure out what's going on. And then it was not hours, it was days. It was, 1 day, and then it was 2 days, and then it was, on and on. And so I think that the difficulty level has been pretty, I mean, I believe Method and Blood Legion have both said that the difficulty level felt good for them. The progression of the difficulty levels felt good for them, and it's just I don't know if this fast of a pace is a good thing or a bad thing, but at least it feels right for those guys. So I think that means something for everybody else. That means that we're going to see a nice progression as this raid goes on for all of us, no matter what.
So I took a look at WoW Progress, and just judging by the numbers, they're approximately the same amount of time from the first to the second last boss currently. Judging by last year, it took Method 6 days to kill Li Shen. So it's not that much faster than Throne of Thunder, but it all really depends on how fast Garrosh goes down, because there is no optional heroic only boss afterwards of Raden.
But what there is something that, kind of in the same light of something that they've never played, is they have come out, Blizzard has come out and said that there is an additional heroic phase that no one has really had the opportunity to see yet. So with that in mind, what could happen? I mean, based on what's the encounter is already, what do you guys speculate could be this hidden third encounter?
I think that we're going to see that Garrosh has feet. Oh, wait, hold on a sec. That was Ragnaros. Damn it. I knew that was wrong.
You troll. I was going to bring
legs.
I was going to bring that one
not
up.
Feet.
He's got sneakers on. He's wearing some Nikes, and he's got the He's got the athletic socks all the way up to the knee. I think that's what we're going to really see here. That's the interesting thing.
But I mean, I know people hated the idea of Ragnaros having legs. It was such a big controversy. But I do think a lot of people liked how epic it felt when that did happen. Having that secluded heroic only phase, like, kind of really makes it this interesting. And I believe Shaw of Pride, no, anger,
Fear.
Shaw of Fear.
Fear.
Yeah, anger was anger is the world boss. Shaw of Fear had that as well. So I just think it's fun and it's interesting. So, but I don't know where else the fight can go. To really, I mean, maybe. Okay, so hang on. I'm putting this together in my head as we go. We've always talked about the Stormwind encounter. Have we confirmed if that's in the normal mode difficulty yet? The Stormwind version of the alternate heart?
I don't think so. I think that is actually in the heroic version.
Yeah, that's the good speculation that people have made.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're going to Stormwind, and obviously that's the darkest time portal, and we've got the quest chain from the Timeless Isle that does show us this broken and most devastating of timelines. So yes, it kind of points to it being the Stormwind. Is it just the same stuff? I mean, obviously we have the fight mechanics that are still in there with the Iron Stars, but is he just hitting harder? Or is it just special because it's in Stormwind, or are we adding something new to the fight?
At least on normal, you do go to the other phases. You go to Terrace of the End of the Spring, Temple of the Red Crane, and Temple of the Jade Serpent. And inside those three phases, the goal is to kill all the Shah as quickly as possible, and then you get to DPS Garrosh for a little bit of time before you're ported out. I don't see how that would be difficult or changed into a heroic only phase, but I remember it was you, Mike Schaffner, that pointed out there were the major faction leaders on giant spikes.
Yep.
Right. Well, maybe they have something to do with it. It's completely up in the air.
Yeah, that sounds plausible. I'll go with Squish on this.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'll just go with Squish. It's totally plausible.
So you guys are okay with this idea that the whole fact of heroic only phases happening?
I love it. You know, this is why people go into heroic mode phases, because they want to see something different. They want to see something different from normal mode. They want to see some new mechanics. They want to be able to
Pat,
what?
But Pat, my $15 is just as good as yours.
Yes, and here's the thing. Okay, all right. You want to get into it, Mike? You want to get into it? All right, let's get into it. Your $15 gets you the same access that everybody else's $15 gets. That's fine. And if you want to push yourself, heroics are a great way to do it. Heroics will get you to those mechanics that are weird, that will test yourself to the maximum of your class, hopefully, or the max of your group, and will really try to test you. And this is what's great about all of that stuff. And yes, heroic raiders, those guys also spend $15 a month. Same thing. So,
but I should get to see what they get to see, because I spend I spend the same money they do.
You can do it, Mike. You can do it.
But
you just need to not have a job.
But I have a picture. I've got a picture of a child here. I can't heroic raid because of my child.
Oh God! You really want to suck me in, don't you? You really want to suck me in.
I do, because apparently I'm the elitist who is this person who thinks that everything shouldn't change. I know, right? I don't get it.
So okay, so before the show, somebody commented that you were the elitist, and I think from an ideal perspective, you may be. I really think that you might be one of those guys if you had time. But you don't.
I was one of those guys.
Right.
I can give the person who said it some credits. I was one of those guys. When I had the time, I took everything I did seriously. I played my heart out. Yeah, I was very much elitist. I still am. I still want to be, but I can't. So.
Right. Well, at least you haven't gone the other way. I mean, because I've noticed that some more elitist players, some of those guys that have been doing heroics and stuff like that, and now have a life or a family or a job that means that they can't do it, and they're doing LFR right now. Those guys are lashing out on the forums and saying, "Well, I want all this stuff." Put the time in. You know how it works.
Simple.
You got to put the time in. You got to put the effort in. You got to put all the other things in. If you want to see all the cool mechanics and the end of this at the end of this tier, and you want to make sure that everything is what you want it to be, you have to work for it a little bit, just a little bit. Even in LFR, you have to work for it a little bit, guys, just a little bit, and you'll make it.
I'm gonna pull just because I don't want to go too far down this road again, because I tend to steer it that way because I like to push that agenda.
Sure.
I'm gonna have us move
notice
on.
Notice how Squishy is incredibly
Quiet.
silent now.
He's being really smart by not jumping on this topic.
I'm trying to say you can do it, guys. You can do it.
No,
Pat took the bait that time. I was all for it.
It was great. It was great.
It was just
you can only troll me once, though. You can only troll me once.
All right, so next up here, after extended maintenance for the realms Blood Scalp and Boulder Fist, they are officially the first servers to become connected. So, I know that you guys kind of got a chance to check out these realms earlier. How did it go?
Yeah. Well, okay, so here's the way it went. I started up a tune, and I was Zug on Boulder Fist, and then Squishy, he went on Blood Scalp, and he also became another Zug, and then we met up in Orgrimmar, and we were Zug together, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of neat. It was kind of fun to be able to kind of experience
Zug and
that.
Zug. It's like Pete and it's the new World of Warcraft show that's
it's
like
Pete and Repeat.
Zug and Zug.
It's Pete and Repeat. We're sitting on the what I can't remember that joke. Anyway,
who was on the bench? Repeat. Pete and Repeat were.
There we go. So it was kind of cool, and actually hanging out on those realms. We had some fun with some of the guys that were on the server, because obviously when you have two guys named the same exact name, there's going to be questions. So, so we had some fun with the guys on the server.
Everybody shouldn't go raiding with Zug because he just totally wiped our whole raid. And you're like sitting there like, what the fuck?
Which Zug? Was it me or was it the other Zug? It was totally fun.
I just got on and just wanted to play. I finally got to walk away from my baby for 10 minutes and I wanted to jump into a flex mode.
Oh my god.
Now we're done. Now we're done, Mike.
He's learned.
I tried. With that, I mean, it seems really cool. You guys obviously jumped in and tested it, though. But did you run into any problems that you could see?
Well, first off, we obviously as a level 1, or actually any level, you just get spammed with tons and tons of guild invites. And on most of them, each of the guilds was level, what was it? Something like 28,226. And yeah, that was interesting. I didn't actually join one because most of them are probably some kind of weird guild, but that was definitely interesting. And
they're all some sort of weird guild, Squishy. Way to have belief in society. Thank you very much.
So you guys, real quick, you guys don't play on either of these servers. You just jumped in to test this out, right?
No, we just jumped in to see what was going on. And actually, you know, it's kind of cool because you can't. They said something about seeing an asterisk beside somebody's name when they were just kind of out in the world. They've actually abandoned that. They just look like a normal person. So you don't know unless you do like a mouse hover over them or something like that, where you get the tooltip.
That's scary.
And so then you'll get whether they're on your server or on Blood Scalp. So it's kind of cool, and you don't see the same thing goes with guilds. You don't see anything special with the guild. It's just the guild. That's what
Here's the real test, though, and like I said, I know you guys don't play on these servers, so you don't necessarily see the population for the better. Whichever, you know, home city that you guys ran to, did you feel like the population was better because of it?
I went there a couple of nights before, and this was on Boulder Fist. And I went there a couple of nights before, and there were a few people hanging out. and tonight when Squishy and I went there, it was actually a little bit better. There were more people in Orgrimmar, and this is Orgrimmar, and this is a horde leaning, both servers, by the way, horde leaning. So we expected to find more in Orgrimmar, and I think that was accomplished. Again, we weren't able to go to Pandaria, so we weren't able to see what the actual thing was with level 90 tunes all the time. But I think that was maybe not a great sampling, but an okay sampling of what was happening. So
wait a second, chat just brought this up. This is a really good point. How do you whisper someone?
Squish, you know.
Yeah. So first off, you can actually /who somebody. Like, that's how I found him first. And then it's just like in LFR, you put the name, dash, and then server. And I know, Pat, you have the same amount I do of Wim.
Right.
It hates that.
It does not like it. It does not like it at all.
It's like, nope,
No.
not taking that.
That
Right.
seems. I mean, I guess if it's someone who's your friend, you're gonna have them on your friends list, so it's just as easy as clicking send message. And if it's someone that you're trying to talk to across the way, again, not as difficult because you can right click their name and just hit send whisper.
Right.
That seems like it might be a really big pain though for every other situation and circumstance.
Well,
Just
I mean, if
saying.
you need to whisper somebody new that you don't know, you can always click on their name either
I like to whisper strangers.
either in chat somehow. You can right click in chat, no matter what channel they're on, or you can actually click on the person and then go to their character icon at the top and right click on that and go down to whisper as well. So there are different ways that you can actually communicate with people if you need to. And as far as for chat and trade chat, no matter what channel it is, it will pop up with name dash server if it's a different server from yours, just like every place else.
Right. Like, I could see it being a problem. I mean, Pat and I didn't get to test it. We wanted to, but we didn't have 5 copper to send a mail to each other. That was a big problem.
We didn't have 5 copper, Mike.
5 whole copper. You can go kill a freaking boar and sell the meat that it
I
drops
wasn't
for
about
5
to
copper.
do that. We were trying to test quickly.
I mean, we were going to queue up for a 6-hour LFR. We needed the time, God.
Exactly. Priorities, Mike.
So what do you guys think here? With this has been a long time coming. They've been talking about connected realms for a while. It seems like they've managed to at least kick it off, and keep it stable. How long do you think their beta testing phase is going to be before we start seeing this widespread?
I think it'll probably be, my best guess would be, okay, let's take a look at this over the next week or so. Make sure that this is a stable environment. Make sure that people are responding the way that we think that they're going to respond. Some people are obviously going to hate it, and some people are going to be fine with it. And let's make sure that this is doing what we think it's going to be doing within these realms. So let's give it a week or two, and then maybe go to a different realm or a different set of realms and try it there and make sure that it happens again, and then try to speed that process up as it goes along. I think it's going to be an interesting rollout here, and by the time that BlizzCon comes, I mean, we've got 6 weeks until BlizzCon, right? So by the time that comes around, I would hope that we would have at least, say, a dozen different realm sets altogether. I mean, I think that would be fairly easy to do. I don't know. Squish, what do you think?
Well, I know Nethera posted on the forums and said, they're working on all the bugs with the guild thing. There's also some bug with like the guild message of the day for crossed guilds. So I'm thinking a week, maybe 2 for the next one, because I know when they did link these during maintenance, they got the amazing patch day experience of about a 7-hour or maintenance extra time, and that must have been amazing.
Right. It does well for your progress in rating. That's for sure.
All right, let's hit up some viewer questions and get out of here. So remember, everybody out there, every week we take your guys' questions and answer them live every week here. So I guess we don't answer your questions. Well, we kind of answer them live. Keep an eye out, though, on our Facebook page, as well as if you have any and don't necessarily like Facebook, you can always email them to us at submit@gamebreaker.tv. So this week, Ryan Scanlon asked, it's been said many times before on the show that ranged DPS always has an advantage over melee DPS in PvP. Do you think adding some kind of degrading damage effect where the farther you are from your target, the less damage you do would be a good way to make ranged and melee a bit more even? Let me just first off, it's backwards. At least, this isn't even necessarily my answer, but I'm hoping that what you're saying is backwards, because you would want it to be the inverse as a melee to even it out if that's the case. You would want, like hunters, the way you used to shut hunters down in the past was to jump on them because they had minimum range. They had to be at least, I think it was 3 yards away from their target, and that's how you destroyed their DPS and actually made it viable to kill a hunter in arena. So if you do it this way, where the farther you are from your target, the more damage you do. Wait, the less damage you do.
He said it the right way. He said it the right way. So it's the further you are from your target, the less damage you would do. So if you are a ranged player, if you are at max distance, you would do less damage than you would at close distance. So if you are right on top of your target, you would be doing the most damage possible.
Which is not what you would want as a melee, because as a melee, if you're killing the ranged, you want to be on top of the ranged. Well, so you'd be taking the worst amount of it.
But the same thing, right? Exactly. And so it's kind of the same thing with melee. Is you're only going to be doing the max amount of damage when you are on top of the target. So obviously melee would be okay with that. But it just sounds like a weird gimmick. Really, I mean, it just sounds like a very strange gimmick that everybody would be like trying to game at some point, right? So you get all the numbers guys out, and they'd be like, okay, so what's the breakdown? So how far away from the target do we need to be to actually get max DPS and still maintain some sort of blah blah blah, you know? And then then you got websites popping up, new, you know, whatever. There's PvP whatever.com, and I don't know.
What if
sounds hokey?
What if it's not PvP but PvE? Wouldn't that make a little more sense?
But then that doesn't even address the situation.
Woo! Yeah, no, it wouldn't.
No?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't at all.
I mean, this discussion kind of answers the fact.
Here's what I would say, and I think Blizzard's doing it to a certain extent. Internet, don't hate me, but it needs to go back to the way that it was. Where
there we go, rose-colored glasses. Here we come. Let's go back to vanilla, everybody. Let's go back to the times where mages were making water for everybody. Let's do that.
I'm not going that far, but what I'm saying is, as we've progressed through the game, there's been a lot more burst to counter the burst that Melee was doing. Blizzard began to give ranged mobility. And the moment that they started giving ranged mobility and the ability to damage while moving, destroyed the inherent balance that we used to have between ranged and melee. Because that was the best part. The ranged couldn't damage you effectively if you were on top of them, because they had to stand there and cast, and you were just sitting on top of them. They had to get away from you. They could still do a crap ton of damage to you, but only when they were standing still. Now it's hit this really unfortunate phase where everyone's just running around casting, and Blizzard's fixing it. They've come out and talked about this, but I just think that it needs to be pulled back. That was the good balance that ranged and melee had, and I'm perfectly fine, honestly, with if it meant that in the end, raw DPS numbers, ranged do more damage than melee. I'd personally be okay with that. In a PvP balanced situation. I know every PvE out there is screaming their heads off at me right now, but that's a good philosophy, I think, in a PvP balance scenario, because like I said, if they're standing still, they can nuke you. But the thing is in PvP, you can't stand still. So you better find those moments where you can.
Right. Well, and what I like what you said though. Stand back, everybody. Everybody is casting right now. Everybody is casting all the time. And that may be a little bit true. That may be a little bit true. It's not true for every single class. It's not true for every single spec. But, you know,
pretty damn close.
There are some damaging effects that you can do on the move, I think, with everybody. And so I kind of get your point. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, if you take a look at... I'm just trying to think about what the main attraction is for WoW. Is it PvP or is it PvE? And at some point, and I think especially now that the game is 8 years old, and you know we kind of understand this game a lot right now, and we understand its players a lot right now. What is the most important thing for this game to succeed as a business? And if it's PvP, then Mike, maybe you're right. Maybe we need to stop people from casting all the time. And maybe that is the really bad thing. People are casting all the time. Screw them. Let's just knock them out. But I think what it is it's actually PvE. I think that is the main attraction of WoW, and I think that is the thing that's going to carry PvP. Don't get me wrong. PvP is great. PvP is a lot of fun. PvP is an esport of sorts. Not necessarily, you know, pure esport, but it is definitely up there as far as one of the ways to get players to keep playing. But I think PvE, especially from my perspective, is the main draw. And from that perspective, you have to think about what's going to be best for those players over the long run.
I think you're kind of right in that currently PvE is a little more the main attraction, partly because it's more friendly to the newcomers, to the people who don't have as much time, with the addition of the non-6-hour LFR runs from like your previous tiers and stuff, or you know probably in a couple weeks, and now Flex. There's just so much more to do. Whereas on the PvP side, you have rated arenas, rated battlegrounds, and random battlegrounds. Maybe they need kind of an unranked queue to help that, but
isn't that
back
war
to
games?
the actual question?
That's war games.
Wait, there's a question in here? Wait, where was the question?
What was the question?
I don't know.
It was the whole increasing damage, decreasing damage based on range, which I don't think will solve. The short answer is no, I don't think that would solve the problem.
Am I going to need my hat again? Because I am ready.
You will need. I'll need my nice little milk cup. Gary's gonna come back and try and make cream for his coffee, and it's gonna have a whole bunch of hair in it. And he's gonna be like, well, "What is this?"
That's weird. That's a weird statement. I'm just saying.
Very weird. Very weird and creepy.
Good luck with that one.
Take it where you want, internet. Ben Faulkner asked us, what do you think we'll hear at BlizzCon? 4 titles: StarCraft, WoW, Diablo III, Hearthstone, upcoming games, plus the WoW movie, and hopefully some news on Titan. I'm ready. I'm so ready to pounce all over this question and just shut it down because I hate the internet.
Should we go game by game?
Okay.
Let's do that. We'll just go in a full circle and get our opinions. 4 titles. StarCraft 2. You think we're gonna hear something?
I think we have to. Sure. I'm ready to hear more.
I don't play StarCraft, so I have no idea what it is.
I think we will. It's been 2 years. Last BlizzCon they announced, or I don't think they announced Heart of the Swarm. I could be wrong. Maybe they did. Yeah. I'm not a StarCraft 2 fan either, but I know that there was a lot of Heart of the Swarm added. That phase of StarCraft is probably drawing to a close, and I can definitely see there being something new coming for StarCraft. World of Warcraft. I think we're all in agreement that we're going to see something out of World of Warcraft.
We are never going to see anything new from World of Warcraft. I think we're all in agreement about that one.
No, man. It's Corgis Unleashed. I told you already.
Completely dead, and it's just going to be dogs running around causing problems for everybody.
Diablo 3. We've already got Reaper of Souls announced, so that might be playable.
Yeah, maybe.
Well-
I think that that's going to be more likely. I think that we're going to see something that is actually a good to go, like a ready to go beta, or whatever. So we'll see something going.
Hearthstone, I don't think we're going to hear anything new. We might get like an actual like launch date, or maybe open beta.
I think we're going to get open beta before then, and I will bet that we see at BlizzCon when they say, and it's going to be available to purchase on X, and it's going to be fairly close. It's going to be like in the next couple of right before
purchase.
Thanksgiving.
The thing is, and I get that people can turn these prizes in later, and this kind of backs up what you were saying. People can turn these prizes in at later dates, but why would they be giving a virtual item for Hearthstone to people who purchase the virtual ticket if they don't have the ability to be playing Hearthstone yet? So you might be right. We might be seeing open beta prior to BlizzCon.
I think so. I think that they're getting ready. And actually, you know what? By getting ready to, I think that they are ready to. They just did a wipe on Hearthstone on the closed beta. They are getting ready to bring in opt-ins. Okay? They have swapped out their hardware. I just saw this actually earlier tonight. They swapped out their hardware.
No, my cards. No!
And
Has the wipe actually happened?
They swapped out their hardware. I got it from the forums. They swapped out their hardware, and now they're able to have more people join them. So if you have opted in to Hearthstone, you may be seeing something soon. TM, obviously soon-ish about how you might be able to join in an open beta. We are at that point, guys. We are at that point.
Yeah.
With
the
go ahead.
I was going to say, like, they announced that there's probably not going to be another wipe past this. So there definitely has to be something, like you said, if there's going to be a virtual Hearthstone prize in the BlizzCon bag. So I agree completely.
Yep.
Let's see here. Where else did he go with this? World of Warcraft movie.
By the way, if they haven't actually done the wipe, I haven't looked myself. If they haven't done the wipe, they've announced the wipe at least. So
Right.
it's
that
coming,
part of
it
we always knew it was coming. It's just heartbreaking to know that the deck that I really like that I built is gonna be gone.
I know, man. I mean, my Hunter Beast deck is awesome, and my Warlock Murloc deck is fantastic. It's done so much for me.
I gotta go to write down my cards, but it's just so heartbreaking because I've earned some really awesome like low level epic 2 mana crystal cards, so it's gonna be upsetting because I'm not gonna get those again.
Gonna get like a page this long with like a shopping list.
So World of Warcraft movie, absolutely not. I don't think we might hear. We already know it's announced. We see news posts about it all the time, but I guarantee you we're not going to see anything about it. It just started production. I've seen casting calls and production calls for it. They're still shooting. I can guarantee you they're not editing that thing yet. So we're not going to see anything about the World of Warcraft movie.
If we do see anything, it's going to be pre-production stuff. It's not going to be anything really viable. Anything really? I mean, I don't think this. They might have some stills or something like that they are shooting for, but I don't know that it would be too much.
Yeah. Titan. No.
Here's the storm.
No. Yeah. Maybe. I mean, maybe that's we do have 2 trademarks going. We've got the Dark Below and we've got Heroes of the Storm. I want to say no. I really do, because they claim to have gone back to not the drawing board, but they claim to have gone back to scratch. We're
not expecting this until 2016, right? So,
but here's the thing: they could really come out of the gates running if they were to just come out and announce it. If they've decided that they're ready to at least announce the game, I could see them presenting the name of the game, because Titan isn't the name of the game yet. That's just what we've been referring to it. We know it's out there. It just hasn't been given a name. So could we see it finally get a name? Hopefully, but I don't know.
Corgis Unleashed.
Have we ever made that connection? Maybe.
Titans Corgis. What do you guys think? Titan, yes or no?
No.
That's a tough one. I don't think so. Obviously with a couple of different titles out there that are kind of viable, it does makes sense that they might want to try something, but it's just so difficult, especially after they announce that they are starting over basically from scratch with Titan. So it's tough to say, oh yeah, it's only been a few months, and I know that they moved a bunch of people off of the Titan project, so of course they have a title for it, and of course it's going to be playable at BlizzCon. No.
There's
Pat
just
Crane-
more recent. Just gonna say, there's more recent things that we can probably hear about, like Blizzard All Stars. Like that's been tossed around for a little longer than Titan, and we still haven't heard about it.
It's true.
So, who knows?
Jeremy Quack, you can follow him right down there at Squishy. Be sure to catch him over on the HXC podcast on Sundays, if I'm not mistaken. And also check out World of Warcraft Waypoint. Squishy helps me write that each and every week, so go check out WoW Waypoint on Gamebreaker TV. Pat Crane, you can follow him right down there at Pat Crane. Catch him on CTR. You guys know him. You guys love him. Mr. Zug. Don't even got to tell you about it. Pat, I'm sorry I missed the show. I would have loved to have had the opportunity to come on.
Yeah, so things opened up for you because last week we started a little bit later than normal, and I invited you, and you said, boy, I'd really love to, but no, go screw yourself. And so I'm just kind of taking that, and I'm running with it, and now you are never going to be invited on Convert to Raid ever.
You know
again.
what? I'm okay with you saying that because you said that before, and then you invited me. So we'll see how true you are to your word, good sir.
He's too
Mike
elitist.
Mike Shavnitz, you can follow me right down here at Mike Shavnitz. Be sure to... Muted! Look at that. Now you can't even hear them laugh. All right, they're unmuted. You guys can follow me right down here at Mike Shavnitz. Be sure to catch everything that we put out on Gamebreaker TV. A lot of MMO news, a lot of World of Warcraft stuff, so be sure to check that out. If you guys like World of Warcraft, we also started a new YouTube channel, WoW Nation TV, where we upload all of our videos about World of Warcraft there. So please go check out that YouTube channel if you guys love watching videos there, and subscribe. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next week.